Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. In this lesson, we will start the fourth property of the noun, which is the most important as well, and it is called status. And in Arabic, it is al-i'rabu. Now we need to be very careful that here it has kasra over here, so it is al-i'rabu, and please do not confuse it with a'rabu as it is in the Quran. قالت الأعراب آمنا. That refers to the Bedouins, that the Bedouins said that we believed. So here we have i'rabu with kasra, and it is status. There are three states of a noun in Arabic. So you remember the first two properties, they had a set of two. And these two properties, the third and the fourth, number and status, they have a property, or they have a set of three. So there are three states of a noun in Arabic. And the cases that we can see over here, it is al-marfu'u, which is a nominal case, al-mansubu, it's accusative case, and then we have al-majruru, it is a genitive case. Now, initially, it looks like slightly difficult. Also, we feel like, it's like too much information, but inshallah, as I said, it's like one-time investment. And once we go through all this process, things will be, inshallah, much easier. Every noun in Arabic has three states, as we can see over here, al-marfu, al-mansub, and al-majrur, and three forms. In this lesson, inshallah, we will focus on the three states and one form. So we are not discussing three forms. We will discuss three states and one form. And inshallah, the rest of the two forms we will discuss in the next lesson. Every noun in Arabic is nominal case, marfu'un, by default. As we always come up with a small conclusion in the beginning of every property. So the conclusion that we have over here is, it says that every noun in Arabic is nominal case by default. Now, of course, we have seen that there are three states. We have al-marfu'u, wal-mansubu, wal-majruru. So the first one is clear, as we have seen that it is always, the noun is by default, it is marfu'u. But for a noun to be mansub or majrur, that is accusative case or genitive case, there must be a factor which is called in Arabic amilun. So there must be a factor amilun to make a noun in accusative case, which is mansub, or genitive case, which is majrur. So inshallah, as we proceed further, we will get to know more about all these things. But I would say that this is the most important point. That's why you see it in red color, that we need to know that the noun, the original case by default is marfu, and for a noun to be mansub or majrur, there must be a factor, or there must be amil that will, and these are the things that we need to know, that al-marfu means that the noun is either subject, either it's a subject, or it is the doer of the action. As of now, the only thing that we need to know, that the noun is either it is subject or it is the doer of the action. And when it is mansub, it is object or it is the receiver of the action. And al-majrur always comes after the preposition. And let me tell you, for example, what is basically what is marfu? Raf'un means to raise something. When we start our prayer, we say Allahu Akbar, and then what do? We raise our hands. And when we raise our hands, what do we call that? We say Raf'ul yadain. Raf'ul yadain, raising the hands. So raf'un means something that is raised, something that is high. So that's why we call it subject, or we call it marfu'. And when we say mansub, something that has been erected. For example, you erect a flag in the ground. So something that has been erected in the ground, that is called mansub. And majrur, something that has been dragged. Something that has been dragged. What does that mean? For example, you're trying to lift something, and something is very, very heavy, and you don't know how to lift it. So what you will do, you will try to drag it so that you can take it where you want to take it. So that is called dragging it. That is called majroor. So marfu is something that is raised, mansoob is something that is erected, and majroor is something that has been dragged. And what happens, majroor, after the preposition, the noun is like, so marfu is like you are in a standing position, and that is your default position. But someone asked you, hey, sit down. So when you are sitting, yeah, now you are mansoob. Why you are mansoob? Because someone asked you, hey, sit down. So you are mansoob now. And someone came over there and he said, no, 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 don't sit down, lie down. So when you are lying down, you become majroor. So that's what we have, marfu, mansoob, and majroor. And let me give you one more example. When we wake up early in the morning, we have lots of energy. So we are like in a state of marfu. We are like full of energy. When it's the middle of the day, we become slightly exhausted. So what happens? We are mansoob, little bit down. And when it's night, it's the evening, we are tired. So then what happens? We become majroor. Is this clear now? Okay, so first of all, we need to see over here that whenever we talk about the three states of the noun, of course, there will be the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also be used. So what do we have to use? We have to use lafdhul jalala, word of majesty. So whenever we are analyzing three states, we will use the word lafdhul jalala and not Allah, as it does not suit the dignity and majesty of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. So that's a very important point that we need to remember, that whenever we are going to analyze and we have the word Allah, we will use the word lafdhul jalala and we will not use the word Allah, as it is not right to say that Allah is mansoob or majroor or marfu. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always marfu, as he himself said that he established himself on the seventh sky. Istawa ala al-arsh, as we know. So that's why it is always marfu. However, grammatically, this word can be marfu, the word can be mansoob, or it can be majroor. So as we can see over here, in Arabic, nouns have different endings. So here we have to focus on, or we will come to know that what basically i'rab is, to show their function in a sentence. And these are called noun cases or case endings. So basically focusing on the case endings is called i'rab. What is i'rab? Focusing on the case endings, like how the noun ends, okay? And we have learned that there are short vowels and there are long vowels. The short vowels, as we can see over here, we have dhamma, fatha, and kasra. And similarly, when they are doubled, they will be tanween, which will be dhammatan, fathatan, and kasratan. Now, if a word has dhamma, as we can see over here, Allahu, it will be marfu'. If a word has dhamma, it will be marfu'. And if it has kasra, I should say fatha, when it has fatha, it will be mansoob. And also in English, we need to remember nominal case and accusative case. And when it has kasra, it will be majroor. We are talking about the singular noun. And we can see over here that lafzul jalala, here it is marfu', here it is mansoob, and here it is majroor. And why do we say that? Because here it ends with dhamma, here it ends with fatha, and here it ends with kasra. Similarly, a noun can end with dhammatain or dhammatan, as we can see here, Muhammadun, and then we have Muhammadan, and then we have Muhammadin. Yes, please wait for a minute, because inshallah, when we look at the examples, it will be easy to understand like what I'm talking about. As of now, you might be thinking like, when we say it has dhamma is marfu, and when it has fatha it's mansoob, and when it has kasra it is majroor. The only thing we need to know, whether it has dhamma or fatha or kasra, or it has dhammatain or fathatain or kasratain, they are the same. Grammatically, we will say that the word Muhammadun is marfu by dhamma, and Muhammadan is mansoob by fatha, and Muhammadin is mansoob by kasra. So we will only rely on dhamma, fatha, and kasra. no matter the noun ends with dammatain or fathatain or kasratain. Now, if you see over here, first of all, we look at the singular noun. And as I discussed, or as I said, that this for the singular noun, case ending is indicated by short vowel. So now we see here Allahu Akbaru. And as I told you that Dhamma is the sign of nominal case. Allahu, we will say that Lafdhul Jalala is marfu'. And similarly, Akbaru is also marfu'. So whenever a noun ends with Dhamma, as we can see over here, then that means it is marfu' when it ends with Dhamma. Now, for some reason, it can end with the Fatha. And I told you that for a noun to end with Fatha, there must be a reason, there must be a factor, or there must be an amil. As of now, you don't know, but here I must tell you that inna is the amil, inna is the factor, and because of inna, Lafdhul Jalala has taken Fatha over here now. So first it was marfu because it has Dhamma. Now it has Fatha, so that's why we will say it is Mansub, and it has Fatha onto that, as we can see over here. And in the third example, we can see that Lafdhul Jalala has Kasra over here, and that's why we will say that this is Majroor. Now, if you remember, I told you that for a noun to be in a state of Mansub or Majroor, there must be an Amil. So here, you should only know that here, Amil is Inna, and here, Amil is Harf Jar B. So the noun has Fatha over here because of Inna, and here it has Kasra because of the preposition or the Harf Jar B. And if you look at the meaning, Allahu Akbaru, Allah is the greatest. Inna Allah Khabirun, indeed Allah Jalla Jalalahu is all knowing. So inna means indeed, and then we have Bismillahi. And since it's a preposition, so you can look at the translation in the name of Allah. Now please remember, the case ending will change, but the meaning of the word will not change. Again, I will repeat it. The case ending will change. For example, Lafdhul Jalala, here it has Dhamma, here it has Fatha, and here it has Kasra, but the meaning will not change. Here it is Allahu, again here it is Allahu, and here it is also Allah. So the ending will change, but the meaning will not change. And that is what we call I'rab. And basically these vowel signs, they tell us about the function of the word, that the word, whether it is marfu or it is mansub or it is majroor. I hope it's clear now. So if you look at these three examples, we can easily understand that Lafdhul Jalala is here it is marfu, and here it is mansub, and here it is majroor. Similarly, a noun can end with Dhammatan, or it can end with Fathatan, and it can end with Kasratan, as we can see here in the example. So we say Muhammadun Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we are not following the rules of the tajweed because we are following on how to understand the Arabic language and how to focus on the ending. So that's why we will only say Muhammadun Rasulullah. Otherwise, it is Muhammadur Rasulullah, as we know that. So here it is marfu, and we will say that it is marfu by Dhamma, because basically Dhammatan is one Dhamma and we make it two because we need the ending with the sound of Noon. So that's why it's Dhammatan. However, we will say that this is marfu by Dhamma. If you're not able to relate it like how it is Dhamma, you can also say that it is marfu by Dhammatan. However, it is wrong to say that it is marfu by Dhammatan. We will only say that it is marfu by Dhamma, as we saw in the beginning that the sign of marfu is Dhamma. So here we have Muhammadun Rasulullah, so it is marfu, and by default the first state of the noun is always marfu. But if you see the second one, we can see here that Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Now we can see over here that the ending has changed. And what's the reason behind that? We have amil or factor, and the factor is anna, and because of anna, the ending has changed. As of now, we don't need to bother about the factors, like what the factors are. As of now, the only thing that we need to focus on is how the endings change. And what does it mean when it has dhamma? And what does it mean when it has fatha? And what does it mean when it has kasra? And then when we say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin, and now it is in the genitive case, or it is majroor. So now if you look at the translation, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah. So the meaning of Muhammad has not changed, of course. Similarly, I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The ending has changed, but the meaning has not changed. And similarly here, O Allah, send blessings on Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Similarly, the meaning has not changed, but the ending has changed. Is this clear? So basically, the real meaning of i'rab is the change in the status, or the change in the case ending of a noun. The change in the case ending of a noun without the change in the meaning is called i'rab. That is the meaning that you should know. That the ending of the noun will change, but the meaning will not change. The meaning will remain the same. The function will change. And that's why, what do we call it? We call it status. And what's the meaning of status? Sometimes the status is high, it is marfu, and sometimes the status is a little bit less, so it is mansub. And the status of the ending of the noun, we're not talking about anything else. And when it is the status is a little bit less, it will be majroor. And we are talking about the status of the word al-kalima, not the status of anyone else. What is the purpose of this? Excellent. It's a very good question. The purpose of this is, it will tell us, inshallah, in the later perspective, you will see that the case ending will dictate how to use this word and how does it function in the sentence. So inshallah, with the passage of time, we will come to know. That's why i'rab is a little bit complicated. So that's why, as of now, the only thing that we need to focus, again, I would say, the only thing we need to focus is the ending of the noun, nothing else. Okay, if you don't know which tanween to put on, you don't need to worry about that, because we are going to discuss about that. That's what I said. Please focus on the only thing, and I can imagine the anxiety that I myself went through. Of course, there will be lots of questions, lots of things come into our brain, but then again, we have to be steadfast and we have to go slowly but surely. Now let's talk about the dual. Yeah, so as I said, tanween is basically the short sound. It's the short vowel. Tanween is not a long vowel. Tanween is a short vowel. It's basically dhamma, but to give the noon sound, we only double it. We only double it, nothing else. Instead of putting one circle, we put two circles. And similarly for fatha, instead of putting one strike, we put two strikes above the line. And similarly for kasra, instead of putting one strike, we put two strikes. So it is called tanween, but basically it is dhamma, it is fatha, and this is kasra. Yes, it will, inshallah, you will come to know that if it is fa'il, or if it is maf'ul, or it is the doer of the action, or if it is the receiver of the action, everything, inshallah, you will come to know slowly but surely. Okay, now we move on to the dual nouns. We are done with the singular noun. Now we move on to the dual noun. For dual nouns, case ending is indicated by the long vowel. Now you remember we have long vowels, alif and ya and waw. So here for the dual, we only have, either we have alif or we have ya. For the long vowel, we either have alif or we have ya. So singular is Muslimun. We discussed in the previous lesson. Singular is Muslimun. And the dual is what? It is Muslimani. Muslimani. So when we have Muslimani, when it has alif, then we will say it is marfu. When it is Muslimani, we will say the noun is marfu. And when it has the sound of aini, as we can see over here, muslimaini, muslimaini, aini, that means the noun is mansub or it is majroor. Now, of course, the next thing that will come to your mind, like, how would I know if it is mansub or majroor? And we know that both of them are the same. Again, inshallah, with the passage of time, when we learn more, you will be able to dictate and tell me that, teacher, whether it is mansub or majroor. But again, we have to be a little bit patient. So, ani, aini, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Marfu is the sound. You have to go with the sound. When we talk about the dual and when we talk about the plural, you remember what do we have to go with? We have to go with the sound. Ani, aini. Muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. Qalamani, qalamaini, qalamaini. Kitabani, kitabaini, kitabaini. So we have to go with the sound. And for the feminine, we know that it will be muslimatun. And the dual of muslimatun is what? Muslimatani. So muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. So marfuun is muslimani, muslimatani, and mansub and majroor will be muslimataini, muslimataini. Is there something common in all of them? Yes. What is common? Here, waw is common. Sorry, alif is common, and here alif is common. And here ya is common, and here ya is common. And similarly, here ya is common, and here ya is common. However, we know that in the feminine, we have extra ta. We have what? Extra ta. But in the masculine, we don't have extra ta. We discussed in the previous lesson. So it will be muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. And for the feminine, it will be muslimatani, muslimataini, muslimataini. Ani, aini, tani, taini. Now you can practice it by yourselves. And inshallah, once you get used to it, you will definitely enjoy it. I know initially it's a little bit like shaky, but inshallah, with the passage of time, you will get used to it. So we are done with the singular noun. And we have seen that the singular noun is marfu with dhamma, or it is mansub with fatha, and it is majroor with kasra. And for the dual, we have seen that it is marfu with alif, and it is mansub and majroor with ya. And similarly, it is marfu with alif, and here it is mansub and majroor with ya. So it is ani, aini, tani, taini. Is this clear so far? Any questions? Where is fatha dhamma? There is no fatha dhamma and kasra, because in dual we do not have fatha dhamma or kasra. So I was telling you that when we talk about singular, we have fatha dhamma and kasra. But when we talk about the dual, there is no fatha, there is no dhamma, and there is no kasra. We have alif or we have ya. What do we have? Either we have alif or we have ya. In dual, there is no fatha, there is no dhamma, and there is no kasra. Fatha, dhamma, and kasra we only have for the singular noun. But for the dual and for the plural, we will always go by the sound. What do we go by? We will always go by the sound. Excellent. Now we talk about the plural noun, and first we talk about the masculine plural nouns, as we can see over here, masculine plural nouns. So we have discussed in the previous lesson that for the masculine plural, it is muslimuna. Should be muslimuna, yeah. So it is muslimuna. For the masculine plural, it is muslimuna. And when we talk about mansub and majroor, it will be muslimina. So now what do we have? We have waw and ya. We have waw and ya. So what sound do we have? We have the sound of una, ina. Una, ina. Muslimuna, muslimina. Kafiruna, kafirina. Mu'minuna, mu'minina. Sabiruna, sabirina. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. We have to be among those. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. So now we can see over here that when we talk about the masculine plural, marfu comes with waw. Marfu comes with waw, and mansub and majroor comes with ya, and the sound will be ina, ina. Una, ina, ina. So for the dual, it was ani, aini, aini. Ani, aini, aini. And for the plural masculine, we have the sound of una, ina, ina. Una, ina, ina. So inshallah, once you get used to these sounds, you will definitely enjoy it. And now, of course, we move on to the plural of the feminine. And we know that the plural of the feminine ends with atun, as we discussed in the previous lesson. Muslimatun, and the plural is muslimatun. Muslimatun. Okay. So here there is a small twist, I should say. Here we have atun, and when we talk about the mansub and the majroor, it will be atin, atin. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. Atun, atin, atin. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. And we are basically talking about the sound plural, and we are talking about the sound masculine plural, and we are talking about the sound feminine plural. So the sound of the feminine plural will be atun, atin, atin. Now, again, the question will be popping up. How do we know that it is mansub or it is majroor? And again, I would say that to answer this question, we have to wait. When do we know it is mansub or majroor? It's a very good question. The only thing we know so far that the default ending of the noun is, or the default state of the noun is marfu. As of now, we only know about one thing, marfu. When does it become mansub or majroor? We don't know. How does it become mansub or majroor? We don't know. Muslimati. Muslimati, when you add al with that, then it becomes Muslimati. You know, when we put al with that, so what happens with the the addition of al, then the tanween will be dropped. For example, let me tell you, for example, here. So it can be Muslimuna, and it is also possible that it can be al Muslimuna, and it can be al Muslimina, and similarly it can be al Muslimina. So both of them can, three of them can have al. However, here we need to be careful. When we have al-muslimat, then what happens? Then the tanween will disappear and we will only have dhamma. And why do we have only dhamma? Because we know that al and tanween do not come together, so it will be al-muslimatu. And similarly, when we have mansub, it will be al-muslimati. And similarly, when we have with the majroor al with that, it will be al muslimati. So it will be also majroor, as we can see over here. So that's why sometimes we get atun and sometimes we get atin. Excellent. So here is a summary. Here is a summary over here, as we can see over here, for the masculine. And this is the chart that we have to memorize. How to memorize it? It's very simple. You can take a picture of this and you can put it on your mobile phone. You can take a printout if you are working in an office, put it in your office. If you're a working mother, you're working in the kitchen, put it somewhere in the kitchen. Put it in a place. If you're a student, put it on your desk. Just take a printout and put it over there and just revise it again and again. And inshallah, if you go through this like 5-10 times, you will get used to it. It's like driving a car. When we start to learn how to drive a car, we are confused where the gear is, where is the clutch is, where the accelerator is, what gear should I put. But once you get used to it, what happens? You just like putting you're sitting relaxing on the seat, and you don't even care like what exactly is going on, and your hand and your feet are just moving without any kind of focus. So the same is with the language. Inshallah, when you are learning a language, initially you will be thinking like fatha, dhamma or kasra, marfu, mansub or majroor. But once you get used to it, inshallah, it will be a piece of cake for you. So for the masculine, we have marfu'un, mansubun and majroorun. We have muslimun, musliman and muslimin. Here we need to know something over here, that when we have musliman, then there is a requirement that there has to be extra alif that should be added over here. That is the requirement. So Muslimun, there is no extra alif. Muslimin, there is no extra alif. But when it is Musliman, there has to be an extra alif, and this is a requirement. And you will see that there are many examples of this in the Quran. So whenever you see a noun that it ends with alif and it has fathatan before it, that means it is mansub. Alam naj'al al-arda mihada, it is mihadan, wal jibala autada. So you keep on reciting the Quran and you will see that most of the verses of the Quran, they will end up like this. So you will see that the noun is mansub. Can you relate it now? There is no Muslimuna. Sorry, there was a mistake. It is only Muslimuna. And we have Muslimuna, and I will show you over here now. Yeah, do you need to wait? Surah Kahf, we have to wait for that. Yeah. So we have here, we have Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, and we have Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. In Surah Kahf, I guess you are referring to Lighulamaini Yatimaini. So it is Aini, Lighulamaini Yatimaini. So that is the dual, 2 orphan children. So that is this one that you are referring to, I'm sure. So it is this one. So Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini. That's why now when you are reciting the Quran, you need to be very careful. We don't just have to close our eyes and have to read everything ina. It's not always the case. It can be salihani, it can be salihini, and it can be salihina, as we have in the Quran. So we need to be very careful. Similarly, it is lighulamaini yatimaini. So it's not ina, it is aini. So the dual sound is aini, and for the plural, the sound is ina. Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. So this is for the plural, and this is for the dual, and this and plural means more than 2. That means 3, 4, or 5. Muslimuna. Again, there is a mistake. Why? Subhanallah. So it has to be Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. Una, ina. I didn't even notice that it is like with kasra, but how was I reading it? Una, ina, because I'm used to it. So even if there is a kasra over here, I would say there is a mistake because I'm used to it, and I know that it cannot be Muslimuini. It's not possible. It has to be Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. So masculine chart, is this clear? Do you think you can memorize it? MashaAllah, some of you, I can see that some of you are, MashaAllah, Hufad al-Quran. You have memorized the whole Quran. What is this for you? It's a piece of cake. Similarly, MashaAllah, we have masters and we have PhDs and we have learned so many things, So as compared to what we have done, this is nothing, yani. It's just a piece of cake, inshallah. Excellent. So this is for the masculine. And then we have for the feminine, al-mu'annath. This chart we have to memorize as well. So it will be Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. Okay, now here you have to remember something. Still confused? No problem. We will be discussing this, inshallah, till Yawm al-Qiyamah, till we are madumtu hayya, yani as long as we are alive, inshallah, and we are learning the Arabic language, we will be talking about this. And by the way, I must tell you, I don't want to confuse you, but I must tell you that this is the last lesson of Medina book number 3. This is the last lesson of Medina book number 3, and we are doing it before we start book number 1. All right, so inshallah, you will see things will become so easier with the passage of time. The only thing we need to do is to be consistent and to be patient. So Muslimatun, but when we have Muslimatan, then ta marbuta does not take alif after that. Please remember, ta marbuta does not take alif after that, so we cannot add alif after that. Let me go back. Here I told you that when we have Musliman, it takes alif after that. But when we have Muslimatan, it does not take alif after that. Please, these things, very small things, but you need to know these things, and these things will change your experience of learning Arabic language. So we have Muslimatun, Muslimatan, and Muslimatin. And marfu and mansub are very simple. We will go by the sound. Tani, taini, taini. Muslimatani, Muslimataini, Muslimataini. And for the plural, there is a slight, as I said, twist over here. It will be Muslimatun, Muslimatin, and Muslimatin. So up to here, it is okay. But here, there is a small difference. For the masculine, we had the ina sound, but for the feminine, we have the sound of atun, atin, atin. Now, most of us, when very important point, okay, I have been telling you about una, and when you are listening to the recitation of the Quran, the Sheikh is saying ya'lamun, ta'lamun, ya'lamuna, ta'lamuna, right? So then how would you know if this is a verb or this is a noun? Because both of them are ending with what? They are ending with the una sound, both of them. So it is una and it is una. So both of them end with the una sound. Similarly, we have muslimuna, we have kafiruna, we have ya'lamuna, we have ta'lamuna. So how do we know the difference? Let me tell you, the difference is very clear. Majority of the words that end with una sound and start with ya or ta, they are verbs and not nouns. They are what? They are verbs and they are not nouns. And you know, I must tell you, let me tell you, it's 99% of the nouns that have the una sound, 90%, 99% of the nouns that have the una sound, and they start with ya or they start with ta, they are verbs. So ya'lamuna and ta'lamuna are what? Are they nouns or verbs? They are verbs. Yeah. So this one, ya'lamuna, starts with ya. And as we can see here, ya'lamuna starts with ya, and ta'lamuna starts with ta, as we can see over here. So now how do we know that it's a noun or it's a verb? So if I say mu'minun, is it a noun or a verb? Noun, excellent, because it does not start with ya and it does not start with ta. So I don't want to leave you with the confusion. I want you to leave with a clear mind. And inshallah, when you open the Quran today, and you will be amazed to see that there are many case endings of the of the verses of the Quran. Sometimes you see una, sometimes you see ina, and sometimes similarly you see ya'lamuna, and sometimes you see ta'lamuna. And one more thing I must tell you, that the verb does not have ina sound. The verb cannot have ina sound. I'm talking about the plural. The plural, al-mudari, yes, you're right. The plural cannot have the ina sound. So it will always have the una sound. But how do we recognize? We recognize by ya or ta, and this is the present tense. Someone rightly said this is present tense. It's not the past tense. You don't need to worry about that. If it is a present tense or past tense, the only thing that you need to know that it is a verb or it is a noun. Is this clear now? Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, now please tell what is the case ending of lafzul jalala? Is it mansub or majroor or marfu? Mansub, ahsant, mansub. Why it is mansub? Because it has fatha. Excellent. It has fatha. Okay. Now, what about ghafurun and rahimun? What about these two nouns? Marfu, ahsant, Ammar, ahsant. Nafisa, ahsant. They are marfu. Why? Because they end with, okay, I would say they end with tanween or they end with dhamma. Because tanween, why do we not say they end with tanween? Because tanween can be anything, guys. Tanween can be fathatan, dhammatan, or kasratan. So that's why we will say they end with dhamma. That's why we have to say they end with dhamma. Okay. Now look at the translation. Indeed, Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. Now this inna, basically inna is amil, it is a factor, and inna makes lafzul jalala mansub. Inna is amil, and it what does it do? It makes ismul jalala or lafzul jalala, it makes it mansub. But ghafurun rahimun, they are marfu, and why they are marfu, inshallah, we will learn about that later. Now we have similar kind of situation, but look at what happened over here. Here, ismul jalala or lafzul jalala has dhamma. So when it has dhamma over here, what do we say? It is marfu. Hamza, ahsanti. Yes, marfu. Yes, Fatima Ahsanti, yes, it is marfu. Why it is marfu? Because it has dhamma. And what about ghafuran and rahiman? What happened over here? They are mansub. Excellent. And why they are mansub? Because they have fatha or fathatan. Excellent. And we know that whenever we have fatha or fathatan, we have extra alif added to that. We have extra alif added to that. Now look at the meaning. Here we have indeed Allah is all forgiving and all merciful. But here we have only Allah is all forgiving and most merciful. So as we said, the meaning will not change, but the ending will change. But the ending has changed here dramatically. Here it has fatha and here it has dhamma. But here what happened? It became dhamma and it became fatha and fatha. And that's what we need to know. And that's what Arab is all about. And now, mashallah, imagine you are in lesson number 4 and you are already, inshallah, able to understand or able to figure out about the verses of the Quran. And ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. That is the fadl of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whoever he chooses to give, he gives. Okay. Now, the example over here. لِغُلَامَيْنِ يَتِيمَيْنِ. What is the meaning of kana? Okay. Kana means was when we talk about Arabic language. It means was. But when we use it with lafz al-jalala, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is always translated as is. Always translated as is. Let me explain it again. Very important. Kana means was. It is only used was when we talk about any other thing in the Arabic language. But whenever kana is used with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is translated as is. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, he is, and he will be. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذِي الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, is, and will be. So that's why when it is kana with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or with lafz al-jalala, it is translated as is. But other than that, it will be translated as was. Okay. لِغُلَامَيْنِ يَتِيمَيْنِ. Mansoob or majroor. Ahsant. Yes. We have, why? Because there is amil over here, and amil is harf jar. This is the amil, and that's why the amil, what it was ghulamani yatimani, it was ani, but the amil came and amil said, no, I will change it into something else, and it changed it into yatimaini, ghulamaini, yatimaini. Belonged to two orphan boys, ghulamaini, boys, and yatimaini, orphan. So now we recite Surah Al-Kahf every Friday, and may Allah forgive us, forbid. There is a possibility, I'm not saying that, but there is a possibility that we might be reciting it as ghulamina yatimina. There is a possibility. I'm not saying, but because we are used to ina sound, so that's why we need to be very careful. It is aini, and it is lighulamaini yatimaini, and here it is majroor. But as you rightly said, it can be mansoob and it can be majroor. Muslimuna, please tell me the i'rab of Muslimuna. Yes, please. What's the i'rab of Muslimuna? Marfu'. Excellent. Why is it marfu'? Because it has the una sound or it has wow. Yes, it has the una sound or it has wow. Excellent. So nahnu muslimuna, we are Muslims. Okay. What about nahnu muslimatun? What about muslimatun? What is the i'rab of muslimatun? Same. It is marfu'. Excellent. So we are Muslims, but this is for the feminine and this is for the masculine. That's the only difference that we need to see over here. Yes. In English, there is no difference. We say we are Muslims, but in Arabic, no. If we are Muslims and we are masculine, we say nahnu muslimuna, and we are feminine, and it is exclusively masculine or feminine, then we say nahnu muslimatun. Okay, now let me give you one more verse of the Quran. Innal Muslimina wal Muslimati. It's a very long verse of Surah Al-Ahzab, verse number 35. And inshallah, when you open your Mus'haf today and you see, it will be Innal Muslimina wal Muslimati wal Mu'minina wal Mu'minati wal Qanitina wal Qanitati. And it continues all the way up to Wal Hafidhina Furujahum wal Hafidhati wal Dhakirina Allah Kathiran wal Dhakirat. Yes, excellent. So if you are Hafidh al-Quran, you will definitely enjoy it more, but it is for everyone. It's not only for Hafidh al-Quran, it's for everyone. So now here, you can relate it now that here we have Muslimuna, but here we have Muslimina. And here we have Muslimat, and here we have Muslimatun. Now, what is the Arab over here, and what is the Arab over here? Mansub and well, it is both of them are mansub, by the way, but as we know that we don't know really in the beginning, we don't know if they are mansub or they are majroor. But from today you can see that this Mr. Inna is very important. It's used a lot in the Quran. So after Inna, the noun is always mansub. After Inna, the noun is what? It is mansub. Only one thing that you should know up today, that when Mr. Inna comes, and because it's used a lot in the Quran, in fact, it's Miss Inna because Inna is feminine in Arabic. So, indeed, yeah. So, whenever the noun comes after that, it will be mansub. So, both of them, Muslimina and Muslimat, both of them are mansub. Alhamdulillah, I hope, inshallah, you have learned some new things in this lesson. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك